seems always in time, but never in line for dreams. Head over heels, went toe to toe. This is the sound of my soul. This is the sound. I wanna take it to the world, but now I've come back again. Why do I find it hard to write the next line? Oh, I want the truth to be said. I know this much is true. I know this much is true.
Good afternoon, everybody. Phoenix Girl here, and we're now starting part 2 of this episode. So, if you like my content, subscribe. And if you want to get news of my latest video, push the notification button. So, just give me a minute. Oh crap. Yeah, sorry. Oh, holy shit. That was not good. That was not good. Oh my god. Alright, so okay, so now we're continuing on with episode 3, chapter 3 of episode 2 of the Team Legacy Original Saga. Alright. A few hours later, Ubalam, Alamania, the royal kingdom of Alamania. I did not make up that name Ubalam, by the way. That was James E. Riley. He was a head writer of Days of Our Lives in the 90s. He had this thing where he would spell like names like certain names like backward, like Ubalam is basically backwards for like Malibu, and Aramid was like backwards for like Demera. I know, really fucking stupid in retrospect, but here we are. Just deal with it. Elena opened her eyes slowly, with a soft moan, as she felt all of her senses slowly return to her. The moment that she came to, she was surprised and mortified that she and Horatio were lying on their chests with their hands and feet bound with chains, and they were also gagged. Elena then took a moment to gauge her surroundings, and soon realized that she was in the royal throne room. No, it can't be, she thought. It wasn't long before she was hit with a sudden flash of memory. Elena was busy in the kitchen making turkey and cheese sandwiches for her and Horatio, as he had just gone home from work, when suddenly she heard something crash through a window and clutter to the ground. She had looked down to see a small grenade sitting right near her, and just as she was leaning down to pick it up and examine it, the grenade detonates, releasing a huge mist of nauseous green gas that caused her to immediately collapse and fall unconscious. The next thing Elena remembered was being carried out of the house with Horatio as she saw a green fairy with long black horns and wearing a black outfit leading them towards a waiting helicopter. She appeared to be accompanied by a young fella with silver spiky hair and a young dirty blonde-haired girl with hazel green eyes. Wait, a blonde-haired girl? Genie! Elena's eyes then widened in horror as she soon realized that Genie was somehow involved with the group that kidnapped her and Horatio. What on earth is Genie doing with those people? Ah, you're finally awake, dear sister. A female voice greeted her smoothly, and Elena glanced up to see Vivian approaching her with a wicked and sinister smile. Vivian! Elena's eyes flashed with fierce indignation as she watched Vivian bend down to remove the gag from her mouth. What the hell are you planning this time, you crazy bitch? Elena sneered with her eyes narrowed. Is that any way to greet a member of your family, dear sister? Vivian smirked derisively as she locked eyes with her older half-sister. I stopped considering you family the moment that I found out that you murdered my dear and innocent father. Elena snarled angrily, her body shaking violently. If Carissa had any idea about what you are doing, Mother doesn't need to know anything about what I'm doing. And if I were you, I'd shut my trap. Vivian retorted a cool sneer, her voice subtly turning dangerous and menacing. She then turned away from her captives as she walked over to Ivan and motioned over towards the couple. Ivan, my dear, see to it that our guests are looked after. Make sure that you do not let them out of your sight. Yes, madame. Ivan nodded obediently with a reverent bow. Good, carry on. Vivian smirked demurely as she walked away and left the throne room. Elena scowled indignantly as Riku, Genie, Jen, Pete, Impmon, and some of the other Organization 13 members yanked her and Horatio up to their feet forcibly, and Elena looked over at Genie with an incredulous yet bewildered look in her eyes. Genie, honey, why are you doing this? We had done nothing but invite you into our home and let you be a part of our family, and this is how you repay us? Genie could barely look the older red-headed woman straight in the eye as she maintained a neutral blank expression, even as there was a tinge of sorrow and regret in her eyes. I'm really sorry, Miss Petrie, but I must do what Maleficent says, she said quietly, her mouth twitching. But what about your family, your brothers and sisters, your parents even? What about Rhonda, your best friend in the whole world? Elena demanded sternly, desperately trying to get through to the young girl. Genie just turned away and said nothing as she fought desperately to hold back the tears welling up in her eyes. Shut your mouth, you old hag. Now come on, we better get moving. Pete snapped at Elena as he gave her a hard shove in the back, causing her to let out a sharp yell of pain. Elena then hung her head solemnly and kept her eyes straight to the ground as she and her husband were escorted out of the throne room. Meanwhile, Shane Donovan was meeting in the conference room with Esther and some of the other high-ranking IDA agents as he was interrogating them about Genie's whereabouts. She's with Organization 13 Alamania? How? Are you absolutely sure? He demanded in a shocked and incredulous voice. We have received some aerial video footage yesterday of Elaine and Horatio Petrie being escorted out of their home by Maleficent and her goons. And it appears that your daughter might have been with them. Esther explained. She handed her a small touchscreen device to Shane. And according to our latest satellite data we have received just a little over an hour ago, they are now somewhere in the capital of Ubalam. Shane received a handheld device from her and poured over the video footage before his face paled rapidly at the sight of his daughter standing next to Maleficent, Riku, and Pete. No, that can't be! How could my little precious jelly bean have possibly been mixed up with those hooligans in the first place? I don't have the answer to that, I'm afraid. Esther sighed sympathetically as she placed a comforting hand on Shane's shoulder. But what I can tell you is that you need to get your daughter the hell out of there before things escalate even further. That I will do, Madame Director. Shane nodded affirmatively. Just say the word, I'll be there on the double. Tell me where she is. I'm going to get on the first flight to wherever she is and get her out there as quickly as possible. Understood. Esther nodded. She motioned over to Rebecca and leaned over to whisper discreetly. See to it that Agent Donovan gets to Alamania safely. Yes, ma'am. Rebecca nodded. Special Agent Rebecca Petrie will be accompanying you on your trip to Alamania, Esther informed Shane. Understood, Madam Director. Shane nodded as he turned to face Rebecca. On me, Special Agent Petrie. Wait, stop! A loud booming male voice hollered as everyone turned around to see Mufasa, Sarabi, Serafina, Nala, and Zazu barging in the room. I need your help, please, Mufasa pleaded, panting heavily as he stopped to catch his breath. My son is missing, and I was told that you might know where she is. Miss Shervani, do you have the faintest idea who this strange talking lion is? Shane hissed softly to Esther. He's King Mufasa the Pride Lands. Esther whispered back, I think we might be able to help him. She then suddenly turned her attention to him, her face brightening considerably. Your Majesty, why don't you join Agent Shane Donovan and Special Agent Rebecca Petrie on your excursion to Alamania? I have a feeling that wherever Agent Donovan's daughter is, your son might be there too. You really think so? Mufasa raised a questioning eyebrow as he and Serafina exchanged uncertain glances before he hung his head with a deep sigh. Fine, it's not like I have much to lose at this point. Let's get going, everyone. Okay, Nala nodded as the lion then followed Shane and Rebecca out of the conference room. Meanwhile, Agent Forsyth and the rest of the heroes landed a private airstrip near the royal palace as they disembarked from an ID-issued jet. Just stay close, kids. We don't know what we might run into. Agent Forsyth admonished them sternly. Just as a helicopter arrived as it landed right next to a private jet, and Shane and his group emerged from the aircraft. Simba then turned around to see his father advancing towards them from a distance, and an expression of pure joy and relief lit up his face. Dad! Dad! He yelled as he raced over to where Mufasa was. Son! Mufasa cried as Simba leaped in his father's arms and embraced him. I thought I was never gonna see you again, Simba sniffled softly as he buried his face in his chest. It's alright, son, I'm here now, Mufasa reassured him gently. Come on, we better find the others, Rebecca urged them as the rest of the group continued their trek to the palace. However, the moment that heroes entered the royal throne room, they were soon met by a large group of Russian soldiers as they aimed their guns at them. Shane, Rebecca, Agent Forsyth also drew their weapons and aimed them at their foes. Okay. Well. I was hoping that you fools would show up here. Maleficent smirked evilly as she, Vivian, and her allies materialized from out of the blue with their weapons drawn. Mufasa then let out a low menacing growl as he, Sarabi, and Serafina got into defensive positions with pointed glares and ferocious snarls. Where's my daughter, you wretched bitch? Shane growled indignantly, still aiming his weapon. Is that any way to treat the lady of the matter, Agent Donovan? Vivian addressed in a cool yet sinister tone, still holding your gun. I thought that you would have better manners than that. Daddy! Jeannie cried. She saw her father and attempted to run towards him, but she was soon grabbed by the arm forcibly by Vivian and held back before being quickly pulled back into her embrace tightly. I'm so sorry, Daddy! It's okay, sweetheart. Daddy's gonna fix everything, I promise. Shane tried to reassure her calmly as he looked on helplessly at his little girl. His demeanor then quickly changed into hard and determined resolve as his eyes darkened with anger and fury. If you even dare to lay a hand on her, I promise you that I will hunt you down to the very ends of the earth, he vowed. I'll be the judge of that, Agent Donovan. Maleficent replied coolly with unfazed yet reserved expression. What is it that you want, anyway, you wicked she-devil? Shane glowered with a sneer. What we want is total world domination, starting with this simple little kingdom right here. Maleficent answered with a haughty, confident grin. And as soon as Alamania falls right under our complete control, we'll be expanding our influence throughout the rest of Europe, and eventually we'll have the power to lay waste to the entire United States. She holds up the reality and time stones in her hands, her grin widening even more with a triumphant gleam in her eyes. And with these dimensional stones in our possession, nothing will stop us. Absolutely nothing! Just as she says this, however, she suddenly felt the wind knocked right out of her as Luther had charged right at her and headbutted straight into her abdomen before quickly snatching the reality stone out of her hand. Psych! He laughed maniacally as he quickly raced off into a nearby left-hand corner. After him! Vivian yelled as a team Russian soldiers chased after him with guns blazing. Seize them! Maleficent ordered as many of the Organization 13 members aimed their keyblades at them, including Riku. Riku? Genie whispered, with her eyes widened, not believing that Riku would actually do anything to Rhonda or her friends. But just as a major fight was about to break out, a mysterious figure suddenly crashed through the ceiling and landed on the ground, followed by two more people. Riku then stepped back in horror as he could scarcely believe what he was seeing. Sora? Back away, Riku! This is over! Sora ordered, pointing his keyblade at him as Don Goofy followed suit. Yeah, you better step down right now! Yuki declared boldly. She joined Trio's side, with keyblade also slowly materializing in her hand. What in the bloody hell, mate? Jasmine sputtered in disbelief as she couldn't help but gawk at Yuki. What are you? Shirley also balked, her mouth agape. Oh, Splinter Thing Lair! Right now we need to deal with these insipid morons. Yuki quickly answered as she faced down Riku determinedly. Fools! Destroy them! Maleficent roared with a livid expression. It was then that the entire room descended utter chaos as the two factions began firing and exchanging various spells at each other. Yuki and Riku were busy teleporting haphazardly in the air as they were fiercely exchanging fire lightning spells. Riku then shot an ice spell at Yuki, which hit her in the stomach and caused her to fall tumbling to the ground with a groan. And just as Riku lay on the ground and was about to cast another fire spell, Yuki unexpectedly unleashed a wind spell on it, causing him to be blown back as he was thrown several feet across the room. Meanwhile, Luffy, Mufasa, and their friends were doing their part to help out in the battle. Luffy was smacking around several opponents with his tail while knocking away arrows with his gangly neck, while Sarah rammed his several Organization 13 members and knocked them away with her horn while swiftly dodging and evading numerous elemental spells. Spike, Dougie, and Peachtree mainly served as decoys to distract and confuse their enemies, while Mufasa and the other adult lions launched at them and began savagely tearing, ripping away at them with their claws and teeth. Shane, Rebecca, and Agent Forsyth also gunned down several Russian soldiers that came lunging right at them with weapons drawn. As the ongoing chaos and commotion continued to unfold, Rhonda, Kay, and Jasmine decided to sneak away with Taokaka as they tried to track down Elena and Horatio's whereabouts. As they rounded the corner and entered a narrow corridor, Taokaka sniffed the air as she was trying to find her scent. Huh, Tao thinks that they might be around here somewhere, she mused. I sure hope so, Rhonda frowned apprehensively. We have to find them quick before something really bad happens to them. Just then, the heroes ducked as a Russian soldier flew over them before crashing into the wall and crumbling to the ground unconscious. They turned around to see Luther approach him with triumphant, satisfied smirk with his arms encrusted in brown, rocky stone. I know where they are, come on, he urged as Rhonda and the others followed him into another room. Meanwhile, Elena opened her eyes again as she came to and realized that she and Horatio were lying on hospital beds in a strange and unusual laboratory. Where are we, Elle? Horatio mumbled in a sleepy, groggy voice as Elena suddenly felt her senses returning to her. Good, you're awake. A thick beam of German accent greeted them as Elena went around to see a middle-aged Caucasian woman with long, straight, and jet black hair tied in a bun and piercing, icy blue eyes approaching him with serious and grim expression. She then walked over to Elena's side and took out a syringe as she was preparing to inject her with it.
Just relax. You'll be going right to sleep soon enough.
Get your filthy, nasty hands off my grandparents, you old hag! A female childlike voice yelled shrilly as the German doctor glanced up to see a huge fireball hurling right at her. As she let out a terrified scream, the fireball then slammed right into her as she was knocked straight into the wall. Grandpa, thank God we found you! Rhonda cried. She and her friends rushed over to Elena, Horatio, and freedom. Come on, we better go right now. You have to tell me twice, kiddo, Horatio retorted as he and Elena got off their beds and started to follow them out of the room. The German doctor then opened her eyes with a soft groan and watched the group leave her patients. Goddamn little shits! She cursed in German. Moments later, she let out another terrified panicked scream as she saw a flying cabinet enveloped in a bright pink aura hurling straight for her as her vision soon went black. Oh man, get wrecked, old brick. Get wrecked. Oh my god. A short time later, Rhonda and her friends re-entered the fray as they helped their allies fight off even more waves of Organization 13 members and Russian soldiers. Talkaka was even lunging and leaping at several enemies at high speeds as she was delivering quick, brutal, yet savage slash attacks while knocking someone away with side hits, drop kicks, and uppercuts. However, what they didn't notice was that Maleficent, Vivian, Ivan, Riku, Pete, Jen, and Itmon had snuck off with Genie and were now retreating back to their helicopter. Shane realized too late that Maleficent's group was making their getaway as he glanced over to see them dashing for their helicopter. "No, Genie!" he yelled as he broke away from the battle and raced off to catch up with Maleficent and her allies. However, by the time he caught up with them, they had already boarded the helicopter and were now flying away from the private airstrip. "Daddy!" Genie yelled. She poked her head out the door. "Genie, I'll save you!" Shane yelled back. Then, as soon as the helicopter had disappeared on the horizon, he swung his fist down in frustration while sulking off and shaking his head. "Damn it! What happened, Mr. Donovan?" Rhonda adds it as she and her friends rushed over to him. "Maleficent's taking off with Genie, and I need to get her back, or Kimberly's gonna go spare over losing our little girl," she explained desperately. "They must be heading back to London to finish the job. Come on, we better get going," Rebecca urged everyone. "Yeah, let's go," Littlefoot agreed. The heroes then boarded a private jet as it swiftly took off again and was now heading to London. Okay. Chapter 4. As soon as everyone arrived back in London, they were surprised to see that Esther had summoned even more ID agents to deal with the various monsters and beasts roaming around London, terrorizing the general populace. "Boy, am I ever glad to see you fellas," Mickey beamed as he was soon joined by Sora, Donald, and Goofy. "We're gonna give you all of the help that you need, Your Majesty," Sora vowed as he readied his Keyblade. "Great, let's rally the troops then, boys," Mickey hollers. They all began to cast and fire their spells at their adversaries. Meanwhile, Rhonda and her friends had climbed up to the very top of the Big Ben as they were soon faced with Maleficent and her allies. A light purple lizard-like monster materialized out of thin air as he grabbed Genie by a scruff of her neck while dragging her to the very edge. "Help me, Rhonda! Save me!" Genie wailed. She squirmed in his grip. "Hand over the stone or the kid gets it," the lizard-like monster threatened with menacing scowl. Good work, Randall. Maleficent praised him with a soft smile as she turned to face the heroes. Now if you wish to settle this matter peacefully, then you better hand over the stone. This shall be all over in a jiffy. No way, lady. We're not gonna stand idly by and let you take over the world. Luther shot back defiantly. How trite. Maleficent sighed silently with a slightly annoyed and bored expression. She then aimed her scepter right at Luther and fired a green beam as Luther was immediately turned to stone. Luther! Katie cried in horror as Luther was completely frozen in place and unable to move or react. Last chance, hand over the reality stone now, Maleficent ordered sinisterly. Alright, fine, you want it so badly, you can have it then. Katie scoffed with a furious eye roll as she handed over the reality stone. Maleficent then began to chuckle evilly as she held the reality stone in her hands, and it began to vibrate and flicker brightly. At last, I have the powers of the dimensional stones in my hands once more, she cackled. Alright then, you have the dimensional stones. Now turn back to normal right this instant, Katie demanded angrily. And why should I indulge in the nonsensical whims of a mere child? Maleficent scoffed disdainfully. Because he's my friend, and he doesn't deserve this at all. He risked his life just to get that stone back from you. He shot back irately with her fist clenched. Maleficent just kept on laughing and shrieking hysterically as her sadistic and malevolent cackles rung in the air. You stupid, insolent child. Do you really think that I care one iota about your worthless, insignificant plight? It's all thanks to your foolishness that you had doomed your entire species to extinction. No, Kay shook her head in disbelief as tears covered her eyes and her voice began to tremble. No. Oopsie daisy, Randall smirked deeply as he then suddenly let go of Jean without any warning as she began a steep and terrifying plunge to her death. Jeannie's panicked and horrified cries echoed in the air as she continued her harrowing descent down to the ground below. No, Rhonda cried. She quickly ran off and jumped after Jeannie. Rhonda, what the hell do you think you're doing? You're going to get yourself killed. Jasmine screamed, horrified, dismayed voice. You're Ned's bitch. Jen chuckled evilly as she advanced menacingly towards her. You're gonna regret the day that you decided to call me a filthy mongrel. Jasmine sneered viciously as her eyes began to glow a hazy blue and her body began to radiate bright and shimmering blue aura. I can't wait to destroy you, Jen grinned maliciously as her nails transformed into long, sharp, and pointy icicles. Bring it, Jasmine growled while clenching her fist tightly. Jen then let a blood-curdling scream as she lunged at her, and the two girls began to exchange powerful, deadly blows while repeatedly teleporting in the air. Jasmine received several punches to the face as she dodged some of the blows and delivered swift uppercuts of her own. Jen was knocked back by the hits, but was practically unfazed as she shot a barrage of icicles at her. Jasmine then summoned a blue energy shield as she managed to deflect the flying projectiles and tossed a couple of blue energy beams of her own. Jen then dodged the energy beams and fired another massive volley of ice beams as Jasmine neutralized them with yet another blue energy shield. She then shot another blue energy blast that knocked Jen back several feet. However, that still didn't deter her as she charged right at Jasmine for delivering a punishing barrage of punches and blows. Jasmine was able to fend off most of the blows and then began to assail her opponent with her own volley of punches and kicks. However, despite of how many blows Jasmine was able to land, Jen just kept on fighting and pushing ahead as she continued to clobber and brutalize Jasmine with even more hits. Dear God, when is this going to end? Shirley murmured in astonishment as she and Yuki watched the altercation continue to drag on. I don't know, Yuki shook her head. Meanwhile, Rhonda and Jeannie were continuing their howling, terrifying descent as they were rapidly plummeting to the ground. Save me, Rhonda! I don't want to die! Jeannie shrieked shrilly as she was flailing her arms wildly. I'm not going to let you go, Jeannie. I'm not going to let you go, Rhonda hollered as she outstretched her hand towards her while continuing to barrel towards the ground. Just then a burst of glowing golden yellow feathers began to develop on her hand as Rhonda began to squirm and writhe in pain and agony. I won't let you go, she bellowed, as even more golden yellow feathers began to spread over her body and reach all the way to her face. She then sprouted out a pale yellow beak as her eyes started to glow a brilliant orange hue, and her hair also exploded in a cascade of fiery red-orange flames. And before Rhonda realized what was happening, a massive joy and adrenaline coursed right through her body as she lunged right at Jeannie and Car just in time for swooping right near and taking off into the skies. Whoa! No way! You can fly? You can really fly? Jeannie exclaimed as she gawked at Rhonda in amazement. That's freaking awesome! Rhonda didn't hear what Jeannie said as she was hyper-focused on getting back to the Big Ben as fast as possible. It wasn't long before Maleficent glanced up to see Rhonda and Jeannie advancing towards the Big Ben as she immediately froze in shock and disbelief. No, it can't be! They're supposed to be dead! They're supposed to be dead! She screamed, shaking her fist in fury. Just then the dimensional stones began to tremble, vibrate rapidly, while levitating with multiple colors radiating and flashing in the air. It wasn't long before they began to spin and rotate wildly and haphazardly as they unleashed a massive blue portal in the sky. No, what's happening? Maleficent demanded angrily. As the Big Ben began to shake and rock violently, I demand to know what is going on. It was then that Rhonda and Jeannie finally made it back to the Big Ben as they rejoined the rest of the heroes. Oh, thank God you're alright, Rhonda, Rebecca breathed silently as she embraced her niece tightly, with Rhonda slowly reverting back to her normal form. So am I, Aunt Rebecca, Rhonda murmured softly as she hugged her back. Daddy, Jeannie cried as she raced towards the waiting arms of her grateful, relieved father. Oh, my precious little jelly bean, I was so afraid I had lost you, Shane whispered as he hugged his daughter tenderly. Rhonda saved me, Daddy, Jeannie still with tears rolling down her eyes. She saved me. Within a matter of minutes, a loud, eerie roar echoed in the air as the dimensional stones flowed straight into the blue portal before the portal collapsed into itself and vanished into thin air. No! Maleficent yelled indignantly as she gripped her scepter tightly with pointed deadly glare. I won't be beaten so easily! I won't be defeated by the likes of you! Randall, get the girl! Yes, ma'am. Randall saluted her as he quickly scampered over to where Shane and Jeannie were and grabbed Jeannie before dragging her away. No! Let me go, you ugly, creepy monster! Jeannie protested while struggling to break free from his clutches. Randall then rejoined his mistress's side as he was soon accompanied by Impmon, Pete, Jen, Vivian, Ivan, and Riku. We will meet again! This isn't the last you have seen of me, you fools! Maleficent vowed as the dastardly villain soon disappeared in a cloud of black smoke and green mist. No! Shane bellowed as he lunged over to where Maleficent and her goons were just moments before and collapsed on his hands and knees, banging his fist on the ground. No! What am I gonna tell Kimberly now? I had her and now I lost her. Don't worry, Shane, we're not gonna stop looking for Jeannie no matter what, Rebecca reassured him gently while placing a comforting hand on his back. One way or another, we're gonna find out where Maleficent's hiding her and bring her safely home. Thank you, Agent Petrie, you're too kind. Shane glanced over at Rebecca with a weary, rueful smile. He then got up and walked over to Rhonda as he placed a hand on her shoulder while gazing at her intently. I am forever in your debt, Rhonda. I will never forget that you have risked your very life in order to save my daughter, he said. Thank you, Mr. Donovan, Rhonda nodded in acknowledgement. Your gratitude is noted. So what are we gonna do now? Key frowned as Jasmine finally returned with her face bruised and battered, her white eyes swollen shut, and blood pouring out her mouth. Go after those wankers. What else? Jasmine scoffed with a dark scowl. Oh my God, Jasmine! Key gasped in horror as she turned around to see Jasmine race over to embrace her. What on earth happened to you? It was perfect, Kate. Jasmine replied, cocky, arrogant smile as blood now began to dribble on her chin. That bitch had it coming. What about Luther? Is he gonna be alright? Shirley frowned as she approached the girls. Don't worry, girls. We know a spell that will make him right as rain. A female voice interjected. Everyone turned around and see the good fairies, Flora, Fauna, Merryweather flying over to them. Who are they? Yuki raised an inquisitive eyebrow. We are the good fairies. I'm Flora, and these are my sisters Fauna and Merryweather. Then they flew over to Luther and waved their wands for casting a spell on him. Within a matter of minutes, Luther turned back to normal as he awoke from his petrified state. Huh, what? What did I miss? He stammered with a confused and puzzled expression. Luther, you're alright, Kate exclaimed as she raced over to hug Luther tenderly. I just knew that you were gonna be alright. Yeah, don't get all mushy on me, princess. Luther grimaced in disgust as he quickly pulled away from her. I'm heading back to Los Angeles straight away to inform Kimberly about what has happened with Jeannie, and then I'll be rejoining you in headquarters shortly. Shane informed Rebecca. Duly noted, Rebecca nodded. Can we please go home now? Rhonda whined. Yes, we are. We are all going home now. Rebecca replied with a gentle, soft smile as she glanced toward that Shane and Agent Forsyth. Let's get moving, everyone. Let's all stick together and do not get lost on the way down. Agent Forsyth announced as everyone soon left the area. A short time later, Rhonda and Rebecca arrived at the Buchanan residence as Rhonda dashed right towards her parents with an overjoyed face. Mom, Daddy, she cried. She embraced them tightly. Oh, honey, we were so worried about you, Beatrice sobbed as she hugged her back. Are you alright? You're not hurt, are you? She's perfectly fine, Beatrice. You have nothing to worry about. Rebecca reassured her with a gentle smile. She walked over to them. As a matter of fact, Rhonda handled her so beautifully. She even saved Jeannie Dobbins' life. Is that so? Beatrice narrowed her eyes suspiciously with questioning eyebrow as she and Harold exchanged a wary glance. In that case, if you really are that serious about going ahead with this superhero business, then I hereby give you my blessing. Really, Mom? You mean it? Rhonda gawked in awe and disbelief, not believing her ears. Yes, as long as you continue to go to school and pay close attention to your studies, your father and I will allow you to go on your little ventures with your friends. Beatrice replied with an affirmative nod. We're counting on you to adhere to your responsibilities, darling. Your father and I hope you're responsible and mature enough to handle it. I won't let you down, Mom. You can count on me. Rhonda reassured her a confident and bright grin. Good, Beatrice smiled tenderly as she caressed Rhonda's hair lightly and glanced up at Rebecca. Would you like to join us for dinner tonight, Rebecca? Gee, I would love to, but I can't. I got a lot of work to catch up on. And besides, it's getting late anyway. Maybe some other time, Rebecca grinned apologetically while rubbing her head sheepishly as she turned around and headed out the door. Thanks, so bye. So, does this mean we're gonna have monsters and talking kitties living with us from now on, Mummy? Abigail cheered with excited and enthusiastic grin. No, absolutely not, Abigail. Beatrice shot back at her sternly, causing Abigail to recoil, step back, her lips trembling as she was on the verge of tears. She then turned to face Ron's accusatory and intimidating glare. You're not gonna have those creatures living under our roof, are you? Well, I was thinking that perhaps they could stay with me in my room until my friends and I are able to establish a headquarters of our own in town, Rhonda proposed. Alright then, if you insist, Beatrice said sharply, rubbing the bridge of her nose deeply. Make sure that they stay in your room and only your room. I do not want to hear about them making any kind of fuss or trouble, and if I do, they are out here. Do you understand me, young lady? Yes, ma'am. Rhonda nodded understandingly. Now you and your sister go wash up and come right back down for dinner. Beatrice ordered. She and Harold headed for the kitchen. You also need to take a shower, Rhonda, because you stink. Abigail giggled as she and Ron began rushing upstairs quickly. No, I do not, Rhonda insisted. Yes, you do. You smell. Mummy says so. Abigail argued back. I'll take a bath after I eat, Abigail. God. Rhonda yelled. as the two sisters descended even more arguing and bickering. Meanwhile, back in Los Angeles, Kimberly was helping her kids with some homework in the kitchen when she heard her son knock on the door. Who on earth could that be? She muttered herself as she went over to answer her front door. The moment that she opened it, however, she was surprised and terrified to see Shane standing in the doorway looking quite disheveled and frazzled. "Oh, Shane, thank God you're here. Have you got any news about Jeannie?" she beseeched her ex-husband in plead tone, clasping her hands. "I'm sorry, Kimberly. I tried. I really did. That evil witch Maleficent and her goons disappeared with our daughter. We had no idea where they are." Shane shook his head sadly with a resigned, weary expression while placing his hands on her shoulders. No. Kimberly shook her head vehemently, with tears welling up her eyes as she collapsed into Shane's arms and started bawling and wailing loudly. No, my poor baby, my poor Jeannie. "It's alright, love. It's gonna be alright," Shane reassured her gently while embracing her tightly. "I promise you, darling, I will not rest until our little girl returns back home safely." Kimberly just continued sobbing hysterically while burying her face on Shane's shoulder as the couple continued to hold on to each other for what seemed like forever. Meanwhile, in Hollow Bastion, Jeannie fluttered her eyes open with a groan as she sat up in bed, soon found herself in a small, desolate, dungeon-like room. She then turned her attention to the door as she heard a sharp, metallic click with the door swinging wide open, revealing Maleficent. "Hello, young one," she greeted her coldly. "Why are you holding me here? I just want to go home. This ain't even fun anymore," Jeannie wailed fearfully. "Oh, my dear sweet child, do you really think I'm gonna let you go now? There is simply too much at stake here. You're going to stay here and train to be my apprentice," Maleficent declared with a conniving and devious smirk. "And what if I refuse?" Jeannie demanded with narrow eyes. Maleficent then walked over to Jeannie slowly and bent down to her face level as she stroked her hair gingerly with a gleam of cold malice in her eyes. "What you fail to understand, young one, is that you don't have much of a choice. You must stay here and do my bidding. Have you ever tried to escape here? I won't hesitate for a single moment to summon my minions and have them deal with your friends and loved ones." "You wouldn't," Jeannie pulled back, her eyes widening in horror. "Why don't you try me then? Go ahead, try to escape Hollow Bastion. See how far you're gonna get with my minions and soldiers hot on your trail. I'd like to see you try to outrun Randall, for instance," Maleficent continued, as she started to circle around Jeannie menacingly with her scepter radiantly an ominous green glow. "Maybe I should even drop by to see your sweet and loving grandmother Caroline in Salem, for whom you were so aptly named." "No, leave her out of this! Don't you dare hurt her!" Jeannie yelled indignantly, with her eyes flashing in fury and rage. "Do what you want with me, but leave my family out of this. Are you absolutely sure about that, young one?" Maleficent scowled with derisive and condescending gleam in her eyes. "Are you prepared to embark on an important quest to become one of the greatest warriors this universe has ever seen?" "Yes, I'll do anything. Just don't hurt my friends and family, please," Jeannie pleaded desperately. "Very well then," Maleficent said, as she turned around prepared to take her leave. "If I were you, I'd get some sleep. You have a long day ahead of you tomorrow. And if you ever think of running away from here..." She then suddenly spun around and swung her scepter right at her face, causing Jeannie to tumble and fall over to the ground, cowering and trembling in fear. Maleficent then aimed her scepter and charged it before firing a single green beam of energy at her, as Jeannie began to seize and convulse wildly in pain and agony. "No! Stop! Please stop! It hurts!" she wailed shrilly, as she then lay on the floor and in a curled up fetal position while continuing to thrash and writhe with a massive jolt of energy coursing through her body. "What the hell do you think you're doing?" Riku demanded as he barged into the room and saw that Maleficent was torturing her new apprentice. "I'm teaching you a lesson," Maleficent replied in a cold, motionless voice as Jeannie's blood-curdling screams continued to ring in the air. "I demand you stop this right now," Riku snarled fiercely, drawing out his keyblade weapon. Or what? Maleficent scoffed disdainfully with an eye roll. What on earth could a puny boy like you do to me? Thunder! Riku exclaimed as he shot a bolt of lightning at Maleficent that sent her flying right out of the room as she slammed head-on into the wall. You! Maleficent growled with a livid sneer as she strode to get up on her feet. You insolent brat! You ever dare lay a hand on her again, I'll make sure that you'll live to regret, I promise you that. Riku threatened boldly, still pointing his keyblade weapon at her. Maleficent scoffed contemptuously as she turned around and stormed off, not even looking at Riku. I'll overlook this act of insubordination just this once, but don't expect me to show any mercy next time. Then once Maleficent was gone, Riku rushed over to Genie and cradled her in his arms. Genie! Genie! Can you hear me? See something! He pleaded with fear and worry in his eyes. Genie then started coughing violently as she looked up at the older silvered-haired boy with bleary, tired eyes. I can't leave, Riku, not if I want anything bad to happen to my friends and family. Especially not my grandma. I don't want Maleficent to hurt her. I know, Genie. It's gonna be okay. I won't let anything bad happen to you, I promise. Riku reassured her as he held her close. Promise you won't leave me, Riku? Genie whispered. We're in this together, Genie, just you and I. It's us against the whole world. Riku vowed as he continued to hold her tightly, and Genie clung fiercely to him, not wanting to let go for a single second. The following afternoon, Rhonda and her friends arrived at an old barn on the outskirts of town that used to serve as a major safe house for the IDA during the Cold War years. So, is this gonna be our own headquarters? Luther frowned as the kids entered the barn. Yep, Rhonda nodded as everyone surveyed their surroundings for a moment. Ugh, it looks so dusty and old. Not the kind of place I would want to hang out at for hours on end. Katie grimaced in disgust. It was then that the group came across a large pile of hay and examined it for a moment. I wonder, Jasmine mused curiously as she went over to the pile of hay and began removing it. Jasmine, what are you doing? Rhonda balked in astonishment. I remember my mom mentioning something to me about a false passage door once. Jasmine explained. She began tapping on the wall meticulously with her knuckle for any hollow noises. Moments later, the wall gave way as a small, dark entrance was revealed. No way, Luther murmured in awe as he dashed headfirst in the vault-like tunnel. Luther, you idiot! Where do you think you're going? Shirley demanded. She saw Luther disappear in the tunnel with a gleeful cackle. Luther! She and the others then dove in after Luther as they all disappeared in the tunnel with loud, petrified screams. It wasn't long before they landed at the very bottom of the tunnel as they trudged into pitch-black darkness through a tiny, narrow corridor. Where are we? I can't see anything, Katie frowned. Katie fretted. I don't know. I think we just need to figure out where this all leads, Shirley replied. As they continued their mysterious, precarious trek through the corridor, the light suddenly came on with a blinding, intense flash, disorienting and confusing them. And it wasn't long before they approached a large cyan blue security door. What is that? Yuki frowned quizzically as they advanced closer to the door. Just then she let out a panic-frightened scream as an eyeball-shaped robot with angel-like wings appeared out of nowhere and began whizzing and flying all over the place. The girls shrieked in terror as they all dove for cover while shielding themselves with their arms. The eyeball-shaped robot then went over to Luther and scanned him momentarily before a hologram image of Luther appeared. Luther Johnson, aged 9 years old, race black, species human. Then went over to Yuki and scanned her face before showing a hologram image of her. Yuki Sato, aged 9 years old, race Japanese, species human. Then within a matter of minutes, it went over the rest of the group and also scanned their faces. Jasmine Shervine, age 11, race Caucasian, species human. Catherine Katie Rosenberg, age 10, race Caucasian, species human. Shirley Brown, age 9, race black, species human. Rhonda Petrie, age 9, race Caucasian, species human. The eyeball-like robot then hovered in the air for a few minutes as its iris-like camera flashed a brief red hue for a moment before it suddenly lit up completely green. Axis granted, a female disembodied robotic voice announced, and the security door swung open. "Welcome to the war room." The war room? Luther wrinkled his nose in confusion as he and his friends stepped into the security room. What the hell is the war room? Just as he says this, a loud whirling sound echoed in the air as the lights suddenly came on, revealing the security room. Within minutes, the computers also booted up as the surrounding consoles also started radiating bright blue hue. It was long before a computerized and digital hologram woman appeared on the screen. "Hello, children," she greeted him. "You are now hereby authorized to use this room at your leisure. How may I help you today?" "What are you?" Rhonda got in disbelief. "Just call me your personal digital assistant," the digital female hologram answered with a warm, inviting smile. "I have been specifically programmed by Interdimensional Defense Agency to help out its agents in any way that I can." "Oh, I see," Rhonda nodded. "So, do you have a name?" The digital female hologram just smiled before she disappeared and suddenly reappeared as a middle-aged Caucasian woman with short, scruffy 80s-style blonde hair, pale blue eyes, and wearing a stylish and sexy futuristic purple outfit. "Damn, she pretty," Luther whistled with wide, impressed eyes. "You can call me Barbara," the woman said. Now, may I also have your names?" "What are we even gonna call ourselves, Rhonda?" Yuki inquired uncertainly with a tilt of her head. "Oh, I know exactly what we are gonna call ourselves," Rhonda declared with a confident and self-assured grin. She then turned to face Barbara, the grin still plastered on her face. "You may refer to us as Team Legacy." And the end. That is the end of this episode. Okay. So, well, I guess I could squeeze in one more story. Well, at least one chapter for the time being. And that's basically it. Hey guys, I'm back. I know, it took a bit, I'm sorry. I know. Alright, so this chapter, this first chapter, it's not gonna be too long, which is great because this stream's already about an hour long anyways, so yeah, I don't want to read something that's too long. Anyways, this story is called Kopa's Legacy Clairvoyance. Basically this fanfic series about Kopa. He's Simba and Nala's eldest son. He gets attacked by Zero, and he's basically left for dead, and he ends up in this forest, and he ends up getting raised by this other lion that basically ran away from his pride for, complicated reasons. And now there's this crazy ass lioness named Janga. She's Scar's daughter with Sarabi. So she's basically Simba's half sister, and she wants revenge because she had pretty shitty childhood. growing up in the Pride Lands during Scar's reign. And she intends on like reshaping the world, as she calls it, by any means necessary, even if it's by violence. And she doesn't think that Scar is any better than, I mean, she doesn't think that Simba is any better than Scar, so I don't know. We'll see what happens, but I can't shake off this nagging feeling that I cannot shake off this nagging feeling that oh god. I cannot shake off this nagging feeling that Sarabi's gonna die somehow. Either by, I don't know, Janga's hand, or something happens with her and Janga and Sarabi gets caught in a crossfire, or I don't know what. Anyways, let's continue. Okay, summary. The dust settles on the invasion of the Pride Lands for the time being, but Kopa's journey home is complicated by Janga, who seeks to hunt him down after learning his identity. Faced with a pending war between Simba and Janga, Kopa questions whether Scar's influence can truly be healed, or whether the lives he impressed will remain in perpetual conflict until none are left. Set after The Lion King 2, Simba's Pride, and Season 3, The Lion Guard, contains blood, violence, and some adult subject matter. This is rated T for teen. Alright, we're fine. Okay. Year 279 / 6 Moon Day 22. More than 4 years ago. I don't know what the fuck that means. I'm sorry. That just throws me off. Okay. The evening sky rumbled sullenly, and despite the sepia-tinged clouds stretching over the cracked and forsaken landscape, Janga knew better than to hope for rain. It was as if the elements themselves were mocking the Pride Lands, every bit as stubborn and merciless as the one who ruled over their misfortune. Stepping ever closer towards Pride Rock, Janga could now see hyenas crowded around its base, fangs bared into snarls of warning. Or perhaps it was hunger, but she did not so much as meet their eyes as she strode through them. Keeping her head lifted even though she barely came up to their shoulders. Mother wouldn't be afraid, she reminded herself. Be like Mother. There were more hyenas waiting around the entrance to Royal Den, but she skulked between their looming forms without so much as a side glance toward them. From the center of the den wafted the lingering scent of fresh blood, and Janga was not surprised to see Scar slumped over the cleanly picked bowls of an unfortunate foe. Though her mother had snuck her extra food earlier, Janga endeavored to appear a little bit hungry, if only to avoid making Scar suspicious, though at the moment the king appeared unconcerned with anything except idly cleaning his teeth with a broken piece of bone. Among the mess of bones scattered around the den sat a dusty rib cage, and sitting within the bones was Zazu. The major domo looked none too happy about his predicament, but he appeared content to remain ignored for the time being. Janga stopped to peer in the rib cage, deliberately facing away from Scar as she did so. "Are you alright, Zazu?" she asked quietly. "As well as I can be at the moment, your highness," he muttered. Something flew past Janga and bounced off the rib cage, prompting Zazu to dart back in alarm. She saw that it was the broken bone Scar had been using and turned to give him a reproachful stare. Scar waved a paw airily. Spare the honorific, Zazu, or haven't you heard? Now fixing his vivid green eyes upon her, he continued low voice. My daughter has foolishly chosen to disown herself from the royal succession. Janga held his stare unflinchingly. You keep in the cage. Of course he hasn't heard anything. Janga, my dear, you still have much to learn. Scar groaned in a dramatic lament. I can't have Zazu flying off unintended. Why, there's so much danger lurking outside our borders. Outside your borders, Janga snapped. She nearly flinched when Scar bolted up to his paws, barely managing to hold her composure as he prowled around her in a circle before stopping to regard her face to face. Be like Mother. Mother's never afraid of him, so you don't have to be either. Scar was smiling, but there was no warmth in his eyes. There's no need for that. As your father and king, I summoned you here to extend an olive branch. You wouldn't have to if your branch wasn't so barren, Janga responded snidely. Zazu put both wings over his beak in trepidation. A flash of anger crossed Scar's face, though he quickly gave way to cold restraint. Be careful, daughter. Be very careful how you speak to me. Your spot will not remain vacant forever, and you won't be the king forever, she told him. When all the animals are gone, and there's nothing left for your hyenas to feed on, they'll turn their teeth on you. Do you know why? Do enlighten me, Scar intoned. Because you'll say it's their fault. You can't help yourself. It's like breathing for you. Your own selfishness will devour you one day. If the king was the slightest bit perturbed by her bold claim, he did not show it. Such vicious words for a cub, he marveled in his usual patronizing way. Here you are, all 4 months old, and you think you have it all figured out. The herds have left, and the ones that haven't are starving to death. What don't I have figured out? How hard it is to be me, Scar snapped. You've no idea the weight that rests upon my shoulders, the uneasiness with which I sit upon the throne. The royal blood we bear is our burden, a birthright neither you and I have asked for, and yet we have no birthright, Janga shouted, fed with vain posturing. You haven't got any royal blood. Mother says you're not even Ahiti's real. Scar's paw lashed out from the corner of her vision, and pain erupted on the side of her face. Staggering away, she felt warm blood pooling in her mouth and became aware that one of her teeth had sliced the inside of her cheek. Princess Janga! Zazu shouted. Janga strained, glaring at Star through watering eyes. I am not a princess, she growled, blood trickling from between clenched teeth, and I'd rather be a hyena's bastard than call myself your daughter. A pair of cubs rushed her aside, a stocky mass and a taller figure that Janga could recognize as Jahara and Kivuli, even through her swimming vision. They stood at her shoulders, still growing teeth bared fiercely at Scar. The king's head whirled back and forth between them. I did not give you permission to enter. Get out! The hard look in Kivuli's eyes was equally murderous. Don't you touch her. You dare make demands of your king? Scar seethed. I'll dare do a lot worse, Jahara threatened. Raise a paw at her again, and you'll find out how much worse. Scar reared back with a roar of fury. I'll feed you both to my hyenas, you insolent brats! That's enough! Into the den marched Sarabi, placing herself decisively between him and Janga. They're just cubs, Scar. And you, Sarabi, the king snarled, raised claw in her direction. What unseemly things have you been telling our daughter about me? She didn't tell me, I overheard it, Janga declared. Janga! Her mother shot a warning look. Scar observed Sarabi beatedly, though she did not turn to look at him. And who were you speaking to regarding my lineage, I wonder? Seraphina? Your sisters? or perhaps someone who didn't know until you informed them. Send the cubs outside and I'll tell you, she responded stiffly, still refusing to make eye contact. Damn you, Sarabi, I must teach our daughter a lesson since you clearly refuse to. Her gaze snapped to meet his. And how do you think their parents will feel about that? Do you really want to lose for your inner circle so you can teach this lesson? Scar's ire finally abated, although his scowl did not grow any less pronounced. Sarabi relaxed a little, evidently sensing that the danger had passed for the time being. Their parents will discipline them. I'll make sure they know what happened. They have better, the king muttered, now the one averting his gaze, or the law of them will answer to me. Get them out of my sight. He waved one paw dismissively. Sarabi gave her daughter a nod, and Jaga wordlessly turned and led Jara and Kavuli out of the den. There were more hyenas gathered outside the den than when she had entered, many of them looking disappointed in the outcome. Janga stopped to peer over her shoulder to see Sarabi quietly speaking into Scar's ear, and stopped to observe his reaction. He suddenly felt a pair of paws on her shoulders, and gave a start as Jaraha pulled her back as a trio of hyenas rushed past where she was standing. They stumbled to a halt inside the royal den, and it wasn't until one of them spoke that she recognized the voice of Shenzi in the darkness. Scar, we got trouble! Yeah, it's those insurgents, the Outlands again! Banzai shouted. Scar whirled upon them, his attention diverted from Sarabi instantly. Quiet, you imbeciles! I told you never in front of the bride! Janga felt nudged from Kavuli, and noticed that surrounding hyenas were now glaring tauntingly at them. She counted down the side of Pride Rock with her friends. The insurgents, could they be the animals who left not long ago? The day the herds walked out of Pride Lands had been the day she saw everything differently. Realized Scar was not a hapless king forced on hard times, but a selfish dictator used the threat of scarcity to coerce others into loyalty. The day she decided he was no longer her father. There has to be an end to this. Where those insurgents are, that's gotta be what they want, right? Not for the first time the last few days, Janga wondered why no one in the Pride was doing anything about their predicament. Even Sarabi had resigned herself to plodding on through day after dreary day. The only time she would ever show strength was to protect Janga, just as she had just done. Not me though, Janga thought, jutting her jaw resolutely against the cloudless night sky. I won't sit around and wait for Scar's time to run out. Hope you both got enough sleep last night, she said, glancing around to make sure there weren't any hyenas nearby. Time for another late night adventure? Kivuli guessed, eyes gleaming with anticipation. Jara groaned. Mom says I do most of my growing while I'm asleep, he groused. Kivuli smirked. You could use a little less growing, unless you really do want to get fed to the hyenas. You're hilarious, Jahara glanced about, knowing their direction relative to the grassland they were wading through. So where are we going, Janga? The Outlands, she murmured, dropping her voice just to be safe. The Outlands are that way. Kivuli jerked her head to their right, indicating south. Sorry. Janga nodded, acutely aware of this. We're still one lion short. The great furred cub tilted her head wearily. Nala won't approve, she cautioned. Nala doesn't have to know, Janga retorted, cuffing her lightly on the shoulder. Live a little, Kavuli. It's not like playing by the rules has ever done much good for any of us. Alright. That's it. That's it for today. Yeah. That's it for today. I've read enough and I need to rest my voice. So yeah. I'm gonna stop for today and I'll probably do another stream maybe on Friday. I'll give myself a couple days break just to rest, cause holy shit, this was kind of a long stream today. You know. But I'll be fine, you know. It was fun. So if you like this video, you're more than welcome to subscribe, and if you want to see more of my content, press the notification button. Phoenix Girl signing off, and have a nice day, everybody.